Hi everyone, Phil here, aka Depth Buffer. I made a quick cryptic tweet the other day about a ridiculous drum processing chain I was working on, and just thought it might be fun to make a quick video to explain some of the method behind the madness. So disclaimer, I am not a trained sound engineer. I love sound design, but I really am just making this up as I go along. So here's the sound we're going to be starting with. Just a nice, basic, funky, upbeat drum loop. And first thing I'm going to do is just pitch it down a bit just to match the BPM of my track. And so, how are we going to improve that? Well, first I'm going to add a bit of low boost via some EQ and add a bit of punch with some slow attack compression here. I still have my other channels unmuted. Here we go. So already to my ears that sounds a million times better, but I'm going for a much grittier, more experimental vibe here, so let's see what else we can do. Now, one of my favourite plugins to add a nice expansive sound to acoustic samples like this that already have a bit of natural echo and reverb is this Transfer Records OTT. It's like a really extreme compressor, and I'm going to use it just to bring up the levels on the natural echo and reverb that are already present in the sample. That sounds fantastic to me. I love the boominess on that kick, but it's a bit too much. It all just sounds a bit monotone at the moment. It's lost those dynamics. So I'm going to use a gate just ahead of OTT just to duck the levels and reintroduce some space in between the individual drum hits. There we go. So now we have that combination of a nice boomy kick, but you can still hear the individual distinct hits, but it's a bit too dry now. So now, having removed some of the natural reverb, I'm going to reintroduce a little bit of artificial reverb just on the low end. Also add a little bit of stereo width there in the low end as well. And finally, you can see I've got another compressor here. Now this is purely just a surgical thing. So if we look over here, we can see the volume levels on this track peak quite high. And when I turn this compressor on, you won't really hear any difference. That's because this is already hitting a compressor that I have on the master bus, but I need to leave more headroom in the track for other instruments to come in. So I'm literally just going to use this compressor just to squash those peaks before it hits the master compressor. So no real difference in the sound, it just limits the peaks on this channel. And then finally, to give some of the gritty, experimental, distorted vibe I'm after, just going to bring in a bit of tube saturation. Now this is really fun to play with. You can turn the gain and the dry wet mix up to produce some really ridiculous levels. Far too much, but this is about the level I'm using it at while I'm working on this track. But I'll probably automate the drive and the dry wet mix on this at various points in the track. So just to hear it back in context with the rest of the layers I have at the moment.